Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome to Budget v Brand. What does the beginning airbrusher need to start off with when it comes to brushes? Because you can be scratching your head when you're starting out. You see all these cheap brushes and a lot of the people just jump on the cheap brushes. The Amazon specials, all the Chinese specials, there is loads of them on the market, guys. So I've got a budget one here which I will recommend you. It is a good brush and you're going to see it perform now, and you're going to see a branded expensive brush next to it perform, and I'll talk you through the feel of the brushes between both of them. You'll get to see how they drop the paint down from a budget to a branded, and I'll honest opinion on what I think you should get if you are in this for a hobby or in it for the long haul. So the first brush that we are looking at on the budget side is the fine spray, and it is the AB130A. This is a 0.2 double action airbrush, so it looks all fancy. If you're an absolute beginner, you could look at that and go, well, that's an expensive brush. It's not. It's £16.99, guys, and I'll leave a link in the description where you can get this brush from, because I think for 17 quid, it's an absolute no-brainer to buy one, to have in your collection if you are a beginner or a seasoned airbrush artist, because it's one of them brushes that will, I'd say, get you out of trouble if you're stuck. If you're out and about and you want to chuck some paint down, you want to get some background down and things like that, it works. So you get a cap to the top on these. We will drop some golden high flow in. Now I'm running 25 psi in both brushes. Trigger response on this feels nice and perky. Spring's quite tight. You can adjust the tension on these. If you take the back off and undo this here slightly, it takes the resistance a little bit softer or harder, whatever you fancy. So 25 psi, we've got two circles. Now I'm going to do some shading on these and do a drop shadow. Now I'm about 3 inches away from the paper, and it works. The trigger is on point, guys, with this brush. It really is. You touch it and the paint is there. Atomize is nice. Nothing wrong with that shading on that whatsoever. We'll do a little drop shadow underneath. So it atomizes the paint really well. We'll do another one this way. The trigger's nice, it's comfortable. Responsive, it's getting the paint down, it's doing what an airbrush should do. So we've got some shading there with the cheap £17 brush. Now we'll do some little lines and I'll try and go down as far as I can with this brush on detail. So if I move you in a little bit closer. So this brush will get down. So it gets down to about 1 mil, 2 mil line, sort of comfortably. You're going really close to the paper, but it gets the job done. Full pass on paint. It'll drop your paint down. So as I say, for backgrounds and things like that, it'll be brilliant for using for your backgrounds and things. It will get a little bit of detail down. So that's the fine spray, the AB130A. It gets the paint down, it shades nice, the trigger's nice on it. It's spraying the golden high flow opaque, and I've thinned it by about 3 drops of water in this mix, so it's the same paint between both brushes. So that's the cheap budget £17 brush. Now we're going to move on to a £200 brush, which is the Iwata HPC Plus. This is on a 0.3, so this is a bigger needle and nozzle setup in this brush. So I'll just move this over, and we're going to do the same again on this side, and drop the shading in. Now again, it will drop the paint down like this, but what you find with an expensive brush, it's more precise. The triggers are better. And you just know when you pick an expensive brush up, you know you can go in, and the expensive ones just perform a lot better, and these as well are solvent proof front ends. A lot of these cheaper brushes have like rubber O-rings to the front, so if you are a person that uses a lot of solvents, you will kill the cheaper brushes. You just melt the rubber O-rings at the front. But when you buy the expensive ones, they're all solvent proof to the front end, so you've got no dramas with your solvent paints and things like that. Now the Iwata has put the paint down just like that brush has, but it just does it a lot better, and this is where the expensive brushes come into play when you start going for detail. And these things are just incredible. You'll get hairlines straight away. It just puts the paint down with more accuracy, more finesse. It atomizes the paint better. You just know when you hit that trigger at that point, you will get that consistency with an expensive brush. And this is what can put a lot of beginners off airbrushing. They go straight in on cheap and beat themselves up when they're using a cheap, crappy brush that doesn't perform very good. It can instantly put you off. But if you put a decent brush in your hand as a beginner, like I did when I started, I learned with somebody and they gave me a decent brush in a class to use. So you instantly pick up your learning skills with a quality tool in your hand. There's nothing worse than going on a job with crap tools and being expected to do the best you can do with a crap tool in your hand. It never works. But if you put a decent brush in your hand, it does help you out, guys. It really does. It really does. But if you are on a budget and you just want to have a little play and a dabble at airbrushing, there is nothing wrong with that whatsoever, guys. There really isn't. That's the one I would recommend from the site that I put in the link in the description. It's a decent brush for £17. That is a no-brainer to buy, as I say, for a seasoned airbrusher or a beginner, because you can have that in your collection. And as I say, if you're a seasoned airbrusher and you want to get some paint down for your backgrounds, you're not too worried about precision atomization on it, you just want some nice coverage, that would be the brush to have in your collection. But when you want to start going down the route of, say you're a beginner and you want to go into the models and things like that, painting the 3D prints, and you want something with a little precision, something that will get you detail down, buy expensive, because they work. They just get the job done, guys. They really do. I used this Iwata for the Iron Man I've just done on the channel. the Iron Man engine bay, and this is the brush that I used throughout the artwork, and it was just, I was chucking solvent through it, I was jumping straight onto acrylics, I was blasting thinners through it, I was hammering paints through this brush, and it just performed every day. I was working in a warm studio, the paint was drying up in the cup, I was just blasting thinners through it, just abusing it, and it just works. If I'd have done it with this, that would have died within the second day with the amount of abuse that I gave it this. I would have just killed this one. So the expensive brushes are well worth looking at, guys, they really are. Especially if you're in it for the long haul, buy quality. They always say, if you buy cheap, you'll buy again and again and again, and you do. But you can just see how the Iwata fades out. It's just incredible. Points with ease, soft shade, fading down, fading down. They just perform brilliantly. As you can see on that fading out there, flicking the trigger, it just atomises the paint perfectly. So they're brilliant, guys. So I hope that's helped you out in some way if you're a beginner. Yes, you can buy cheap if you're practicing. I'll leave a link to that one. Give it a look. It's well worth £17. It does the job. It'll get your paint down. It'll get you started. But if you want to go in the long haul, jump onto something like that. Brilliant brush. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.